From buying your first box of miniatures and paints to being a gentleman or lady on the gaming table, we have you covered.
We'd like to take a moment and thank our sponsors, Dragon Slayers, The Forge Hobbies and Games, and Rexter's Lasers, and the Patreons that support the channel, plus you for taking a moment to watch the channel.
Hello and welcome in, everybody. I have a special guest. He has figured out how to brave the cold and come back to the hot heat. Jamie
And it is hot. It is very hot, yes.
Get your sound up there.
I did. That was my
So hopefully you can hear us.
Yep.
So no, hopefully they can hear us. It's the mic. When I'm sitting, sometimes it's not good. So if you can't hear me, let us know. I've got my sound up. Woo! Jamie is in, and so it so happened that this is, I think, based roughly on what YouTube tells me, the 200th video for the channel. So I figured we'd take about 30 minutes, hop on, say a howdy do, give a recap of, it's been about a year and a half, I guess. It's probably been longer than that, but really a year and a half doing it. So somebody says something. Let's see here. I can't read it. David Cook, audio is good. That is good to know. Good to know. I know I've had some where I've sat closer to do some screens and do some things, and so it's kind of messed with it. So here's that. So that is good. But yes, so Jamie's here, so we're just going to kind of do a recap where it started. I forgot I was trying to do some things, but I didn't do it. We've changed some music, changed some intros. I actually had one. I've got to show it to you. Forgot to bring it up. I didn't meant to put it on here, so we could do it one of the first ones. What up, Ken? Ken, you are beyond a legend. And he's only back for a few days, Ken.
Yeah. So we have officially sold the house. It closes on the 17th of July. I'm literally back just in enough time to get everything packed up and make the final move back up. So Thursday next week, actually, we'll be driving up to New Jersey for the final time.
But he has promised me he's going to start producing some painting videos and send them to me so I can get them up.
Yeah, so that was one of the other things I was really glad I got a chance to come on so I could let you guys know. Yes, so the plan is we close on the new house on the 21st, and we will be moving in that first weekend. The plan is to hopefully be ready to start producing some hobby content. It may even just be some videos like this where I just kind of throw something together, talk about what's going on, just that sort of content to start with, just so we can get some more content out there. And then as I continue to get things situated in the new house and the hobby rooms put back together, I have equipment now that I can start actually doing proper hobby content.
Cool.
For the channel.
Welcome in, Stream Sector. Good to Slam Sector. I said Stream Sector. Slam Sector. I got that wrong. I looked down at it twice. And Ken, have a good one. I know it's late. We were trying to get started earlier so we could have a little more time to talk, but greatly appreciate the super chat. It's really cool that those are available, and you have Beyond Means. Thank you again for the one at the end of the game on Monday that we did with the LOTR versus the World Eaters. I saw it come in right at the end for a great game sticker, so thank you again for that. Have a good one. We'll see you Monday for sure. I know I'll be back live Monday with a boarding patrol. We're doing a boarding patrol. We're trying to figure out what we're doing on that one, but David will be over and we'll knock that one out. I think, can't remember what we were taking and talking about on that one, but we do have that one lined up. So it's come a long way. I think when we started it, we were looking at events being the main thing. Events have kind of, we do one, we're looking at this, we did two, we're kind of looking at how we're doing that. So events of that, and then really and truly, painting videos sound cool. Will be fun to paint along to. Oh yeah. The way Jamie does it really good. You can see our painting series. We have it. It was one of the first ones we did.
Yeah, there's a couple. If you look back in our VODs, there's the Harlequin program. That was a really good one. I really enjoyed doing that. It'll be that style. And then I want to do at least once or twice a month where literally I just sit down and paint whatever it is I'm working on the table and just kind of talk along with it.
Yeah.
There's a few guys who used to do hobby content like that a few years back when this whole thing really first kind of got started. And I've always wanted to do something similar, so I'm looking forward to that.
Cool. So we do have that. We started that. But yeah, and then we kind of got going, and the goal was we did 40K, and then I realized I just like doing games, and so we started bringing in all kinds of. I mean, I think I've got them listed. I've got some Blood Bowl. We've got Malifaux. We try to do once a month. I've missed it a couple of months. I know for sure it will be back going September and October. September because it's the month before, and then October for their big Foe Down, which is a 2-day event. So it'll be a 2-day event of those. The really cool thing for the Malifaux is it gave me time to mess around with expanding how to actually produce the stream better, because I wasn't the best at it. I mean, we did good. Some of them were brutal when I go back and watch them, like, what the heck were we doing? But it allowed for me to start understanding cameras, how to use OBS, how to get the cameras to have all the different overlays and so forth, so I can show you different things and showing the cards and stuff, which is cool because with 40K, now that I have cards and all those access, I can do those too as we go forward. As you can take and see if you go back and watch Monday's show, we kind of did some of the cards that are popping up. It's a lot of, I need another monitor. I need a third monitor so I can use it now, but that's down the road. We're working there. Again, we finally hit the super chat aspect, which is really cool. We had our Patreon going. Again, we didn't even say in the beginning, thanks to the Patreons, thanks to the sponsors. Those are the things that keep the channel going. Those keep everything covered. And then again, always thanks to everybody that watches it, because it's 200 videos, and we have hit 4,000 hours watched, which is so funny. On a lot of people I talk to, they always hit the 1,000 subscribers and then struggle for the 4,000 hours. We're flipped. We got the 4,000. We're just struggling to get to the 1,000.
Exactly. So we're putting out the content, which is great, and
people are watching it,
which is even better. But yeah, as we get to that point, though, once we hit 1,000, like it'll be a big deal for us.
Thank you very much, Miniature Gaming Montage.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciate you being in the chat and talking to us. So that's kind of that. I've linked all the games. I think the only new 2 on the horizon that we haven't put on stream yet that will come out, because we've done it a lot, is MCP and Moonstone. I don't know if you've seen Moonstone. It's a new game. It just got recognized in Europe for 2023, one of the best tabletop miniature games. What up, Slam Sector? Slam Sector. Thank you so much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. That is awesome. That's really cool.
Appreciate the support.
As they said the other day when we got the first one, we're getting paid now to play 40K. I was like, all right, so we're getting paid to stream. It's not a lot. No, I mean, I get it, but I definitely, it's great and appreciate it.
Technically, that makes us professional streamers.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what it is.
I don't know. We'll have to
according to now, anyone who's been in this hobby for a very long time, pro painter, they will know what that means. The way that used to work was if you sold something painted on eBay, you were then a pro painter.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Literally, that is, and you used to see just eBay flooded with these, buy this army, it was pro painted, and then you looked at it and you're like, yes, buy their feet.
Oh, wow. So, Moonstone is a new one, 2023 UK Best Tabletop Miniature. I've reached out to them. I don't know what'll happen there. I'm pretty much going to figure out. We'll have a stream next week with that. One of the local people has the content, the miniatures, really cool designs, really cool gameplay. So we'll have that on next week. BattleTech, we did a little snippet and try that. We had enough people. I broke 100 watching it, so I was like, all right, cool. So we're going to line that one up again. We still have Blood Bowl. We've got a next season coming out in the fall. Summer, it's really hot, so in the fall, when that kicks back up, we'll have those games back on. Malifaux, again, it's the once a month, hit the tournaments. I've missed 3 in a row. 1, daughter's birthday. 2, because I'm going to stream a 40K tournament. And the other one, I just got back from vacation. So not a great excuse, but it just happened to hit that second weekend, so I can't change that. And then from other games, Border Patrol and 40K, they stay on. ShatterPoint, we'll have another one coming up with that. If you hadn't watched the ShatterPoint one, I love all my Warhammer store tax write-off. Stuff is a tax write-off. Yes, all my gaming stuff. That's how I've sold it to the wife. Shh, it's tax write-offs. Every time I buy something, how much of that's tax write-off? That's just what you say.
Business expense.
That's what it is.
Business expense.
The ShatterPoint, we're going to have another one on those. If you hadn't watched it at 5 today, we had the winner. Haunted Bagel. You, sir,
wow.
are a legend, and
Wow.
greatly appreciate it.
That's
I
fantastic.
do greatly appreciate it. I'm excited for the future as well. I can tell you it's interesting to see how much all of you support it and provide all the different things to just kind of keep us motivated. And then locally, it's interesting at the gaming store. I actually get tickled the other day. You don't know this one. The guy's like, I subscribed to Roy Skill Gamers 4. It was cool. And I'm like, I don't know if it's even cool yet. I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Actually, I can one up you. So I was at ACO last weekend, or
yeah,
last weekend. Yeah, it was last
no, weekend before.
or weekend before.
Yeah.
Weekend before, and I bumped into a guy who watched our videos when we had 50 views,
Oh, okay.
and I was like, "Well, thank you." And then I asked him, "Are you still watching?" He goes, "Oh yeah."
Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. So
So
yeah,
yeah, it's very humbling. Like I go to a lot of events a lot across the country, and I really get tickled when I see someone who recognizes the name. I'm like, oh, you guys do that? And I'm like, yeah, we do.
yeah.
Yes, we do.
We do. We are all over the place. Ajax, what up? Hello. How are you today? So that's kind of where we're sitting on all of those games. We still have it's. I don't know. Jamie didn't like the gameplay. We'll see. I'm setting it up. We're working on it. We still have Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle Earth. We've got the minis. They are painted. I am trying to make sure that I have, as you can see, we've got a table here. Another friend of the channel gave us some stuff to be able to take and have this. And so we've got some more terrain coming in that I'm building. But we are looking to make sure we got the terrain so that we can thematically show that one off with all the camera angles. It doesn't do it justice just to kind of slap it on the table and play across it. So I'm super excited for that. And then we kind of get back into where it's all been going right now. I think so just so everybody knows, I'm trying to set up a chiropractor appointment because building and painting the Leviathan box for the store, I've literally built my Leviathan box. I've almost got it primed. I've got 2 more sets of nids to build. But I literally have just been hunched over, building, cutting, painting every hour of the day that I'm not working or I'm not cutting a video.
Yeah, my box just arrived today, so
Sitting there nice and pretty, huh?
Yep, I was very upset because Tuesday I also ordered the book, and the book came in on Tuesday, and I'm like, wait a second, this box is not nearly big enough for my order. Where are my miniatures?
Oh, Haunted, you're killing me with that one. How much money do I have to pay Nathan to fix his last name? It is the way it is. I'm going to tell you, my grandfather would roll over in his grave, and my grandmother would cut me up. Because I will tell you this, she tells me all the time. I think, roughly giving, there's only 2 that we know of, lineage-wise, 2 people, males, with the last name with 1 L left. And if they have girls, you'll be happy to know. I think the 1L may die, but we don't know what's going to happen. I just know that I had 2 girls, that didn't work, and my brother, he had the boy. And so as far as we know, locally in the southern part of the U.S., it's just 1 boy, and he is carrying the weight on those shoulders, Haunted. So just so you know,
yes,
I know you love me, but I just let you know, I love you like the 2 of us. I can't wait until we get to meet, and we're going to get to hug it out. And we can, I mean, at that point, we can exchange some jerseys if you got one. And I'll wear a 2L and you can wear a 1L.
There you go. Yeah, a live stream of painting the Space Marines from Leviathan in one sitting. We've been trying to get together to do a 24-hour paint challenge because I know that's a big thing. And I think the Space Marines would be a good opportunity to make that happen. What I find interesting is that every one of those I've ever watched fall short every time. And I think it's because most people don't realize how much time it actually takes to do the detail work. Like, anyone can slap some paint and some wash on a model, but like, start painting bolters and casings and eye lenses, and
It's not bad.
there's just so much to it.
It's not bad. I will say it does take longer than I thought.
Yeah.
However, my painting journey of what I painted before we kind of started this and then watching it, I've gotten pretty decent. As Skip says, he always wondered how in the world I had a Mortarian painted. He found out the other day Steven did it.
Yeah.
But I can say I am not afraid of a dry brush. I'm not afraid of an airbrush. I am not afraid of a lot of the techniques. And in September, I will be in Denton at ReaperCon, and I'm signed up for 9 more painting classes to make sure that I can even expand it even further.
Yeah.
So some chromo and so forth. Now, Skip, I'm not against that. That's a good call. I think I may do that, but what's really cool with it is it's going to be in the custom chapter.
I know he just said that. He just wants to make you suffer and finish up them snakes.
Oh, the snakes? Yeah. It's going to be the iron snakes. But don't worry, I have now all the paints I need. I found all the paint colors, so
Nice.
I've got that. I've got it looked at. And actually, surprising enough, it's going to be prime black, and then I'm going to take lead belcher and I guess brush it on instead of airbrush it on. And then it's two washes, let them dry in between. And then it's picking out white with the Pro Acryl white, which is amazing.
Yep.
And then a Lameth blue with a contrast blue.
Yeah.
And it's actually not that hard to paint it. After I did the Blood Angels for the store, it's funny enough, I've never wanted to paint Space Marines. Jamie can contest. I have literally probably bought 4 Space Marine Army and sell them because I just can't stand them. This is the only one I've held on to. And the custom work on it. The hard part for me is going to be getting the hat to make a match, so that'll be a little off. But I am definitely down to look at doing it probably in about a month or so. I'll probably get them primed. I'll have to be primed first, and then I'll brush the metal on and go from that, because I can start slapping some paint on it. I think I can make it work. Might do it, Skip. If you're willing to, so Skip, I'll put it this way. If you're willing to set up with me for the 24 hours, we're good to go. Oh, and by the way, so Jamie, you don't know this.
Okay.
So Skip, he is the first and always will be the first Patreon.
Right.
But when it's time for the little one to go to sleep, so they have a 3-month-old. When the little one's time to go to sleep, turn the channel on. My voice apparently puts the baby to sleep. So I'm just letting you know. Just letting you know.
That's fantastic.
All right, let's see here.
Those soft, dulcet tones.
Slam Sector says, I think the craziest thing I ever did was paint 2,000 points with World Age in about 40 hours. I was dying. Oh, I bet you were. I bet you were for sure. And then Ajax says he's procrastinating on painting his Leviathan box. Hey, but you got the Space Wolves that you got from me done, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny. I think the craziest thing I ever did. So way back in the day, I worked for Games Workshop, and we built 14 gaming tables full of scenery for the first edition of Apocalypse back in the day. Oof. And then we painted 10 Bane blades.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we did that in about 40 hours worth of time, because we did it during shop hours. But yeah, it was crazy. It was a ton of work.
Me, Grant, and Walker tried doing his Dark Angels to get ready for the tournament.
I remember watching
6.5 hours, and I'm like, man, we didn't get nothing done.
Yeah.
Britt, she said you can't stay up with me? Okay. I mean, I just offer him. You let me know when. I'm like, all right, cool. If I got somebody to talk to the whole time, I'd have to have several bottles of water, though. Throat would definitely be going dry.
Oh, yeah.
But it is definitely one of that. So we've got all those games. We've enjoyed doing all those. I have tons of different people hop on the channel. Most of the time they're playing against me. I try to have them play other people. I try to make sure I'm able to produce. If you notice in some of the games here lately, I have not even rolled the dice. I just do my movement, stay the stats, tell how many attacks, and let the opponent roll them, just because it's easier, so I can actually do some of the cameras and really try to focus in on that. I try to not let the gameplay suffer, but really give a very cinematic way to watch the game, and hopefully that's been very enjoyable as we have grown through the different things.
Yeah.
Leviathan's coming out. 10th is out.
Yep.
Boarding Patrol, I did a thing on it. They have not abandoned Boarding Patrol. They actually did them right. Combat Patrol is very interesting. I feel like it's like learning a different game. Boarding Patrol, there is some cross outs on the cards, but I don't feel like you're learning a different card.
Yeah.
And then you've got 10th edition. And so I did a list review on Grey Knights, which was thoroughly enjoyed watching. That was pretty cool. Tomorrow coming out will be a list edition on World Eaters from the World Eaters game I played Monday, on my thoughts on them. I get to do Dark Eldar, and I've already done a Quinswin for those. So we're doing those. I find it interesting, but just out of curiosity, I know you really hadn't got a chance to play. What's your thoughts so far?
All right, so let's go with the ugly. We'll start with the ugly. Good, bad, and ugly. So we'll start with the ugly. I like the fact that the whole simplistic, not simple concept. But I think they've overstepped the boundaries a little bit in some areas. I don't remember anyone ever having trouble writing a list. Yeah, trying to determine what the most effective list is never the easiest thing, but the actual writing of a list it's pretty simple. It's basic math and a little bit of scratching on a notepad or using your favorite app. I don't like how they're making the army building right now. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
You know where they got it from?
No, I don't actually. This is the one thing that befuddles me.
It's AOS. AOS has been doing this since AOS came out. Age of Sigmar 1.0, 2.0, always been built. It was one of the things when me and Steven played it that we had trouble is in 40K, if we had 20 points, we could take 2 Marines to fill it.
Exactly.
In AOS, you couldn't. And so it was always a struggle to do that. So
Well,
that's where it came from.
Okay, well, I don't care. It's terrible.
I'm just letting you know that's where it came from.
It's the one part about this whole new edition I actually dislike the most. Because I play a couple of armies that I either have to play a 1950 game or I have to effectively make my list worse so I can spend the points, which is ridiculous. So, like, for example, is like I was writing up a leagues list, and we'll go into that because they're part of Ugly too. I got to 1950 points. I had already maxed out all my characters. I'd already taken all my enhancements. I could not do anything else with those 50 points. There's no upgrades to buy. I can't buy an extra dude. Like, that is super frustrating to me. So I had to actually drop off a unit and then add in 2 characters and an extra enhancement to get to like 1995. And that seems it's such a feel bad moment. Like, I shouldn't have to go to that trouble. To me, it's just crazy. Bad things that I think that are bad.
Hold on before you go.
Sure.
David says Death Guard are really suffering from it.
Not surprising, yeah.
Because of the extra one. And you get all the war gear free. I can see that for sure. I have Death Guard on the shelf. They're just, if you've watched any of my doings, I prefer movement, and they don't move.
And they don't
inches.
move.
So they just sit there until one day they give them a buff.
Yeah.
And then miniature gaming montage says 5 Deathwing Knights are 235. You add 1, it's 470. You actually add 1, it's 470, or you add 5, it's 470. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
and I don't understand that. I don't care if it came from AOS. I don't play AOS. I never have played AOS. I don't think it's a game for me. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's not a game I like to play. I'm an old fantasy player. I liked the fantasy game, not necessarily the last edition of it, but I like the way fantasy played. If I wanted to play 40K in a fantasy setting, I would just play 40K. That's the way I've always looked at it. Like I said, I'm not trying to badmouth AOS or say that it's terrible. It's just not how I like to play the game. And I thought that was... I don't like the fact that they are intermixing some of those things, because I don't think it was necessary. That is a change that wasn't necessary for 40K.
now I can tell you where it came from.
Oh, yeah. Like I said,
I know it, but I mean why they did it.
It was once again, I don't think that's a correct statement anyway, because people were buying the models anyway.
No, it wasn't even the models. So it's their way, because I can see this in AOS, of balancing someone that wants. You can take anything you want,
But it doesn't balance anything. That's my next point.
Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah. So here's the bad. The balance is garbage. This is no more. This is a worse balance system than the previous one we were working with. We're only a week or 2 into it, but it's absolutely terrible. Your upper tier armies are so much better than everybody else. Your middle tier armies will never beat the upper tier armies, and your bottom tier armies are the absolute garbage. It's just terrible. And unfortunately, that's Admech, Death Guard, and Votan. They're the 3 worst armies in the game right now.
Well, I will say I'm going to
They're
try.
just
I am going to try something after doing the World Eaters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to build a Death Guard list with a Rhino Rush.
Yeah.
Because if I rush it up and they drop out, because the
It could
game's
be.
built on the center
Yeah.
of the table,
It could
and
be.
they can somewhat stay mortal wounds is the thing. I don't know if it'll work. Let's
It
see. Let's see. Let's catch up here for a
Yep.
second. You got AJ's got 3 lists at 1,000. Slime Sector says He's been getting to 2,000, but not what he wants. Yeah, you have to always drop something.
That's usually what ends up
Yeah,
happening.
Plague Marines come in a box of 7. Yeah, they didn't change that. You got to buy 2 of those to get 14, which only gives you 2 squads, not 3 squads. Yeah, don't get me started on that. I do have 50 Death Guard Plague Marines, so I've never had that issue now because I collected
You have
enough.
more than enough.
Yeah, but AOS is a whole lot less granular gaming system. Yes, because there's no guns. It's all you got to get in combat, and you're just stuck in combat. So I definitely understand that. And that may be the piece, is everybody wants the guns, and then with LOTR being able to use their fate dice or others doing that. So I can see that. David says he also hates now that all my opponents will be not WYSIWYG because they want to always be a good pick of the best options. Yeah, WYSIWYG's going to be out the door right now because since all the stuff's free, everybody's going to be like, now, what was interesting, and they've done it, and I noticed they've done it, is they kind of went to kind of what the box was. But the problem is everybody went from what they had built to what was the best to this last edition where it was somewhat the box, but then they kind of pushed it where all the gear's free, but really limited you going.
Yeah, in ninth edition, especially towards the end, they did kind of push you to only being able to use options that were in your box. But you still had free reign on how you did that.
Yeah.
So like if you had 7 models, so many of those models could have this, so many of those models could have that, and all those pieces were in your boxes, which is perfectly fine. What makes that difficult is for guys like me who've been playing this game for 30 years, like I had miniatures that I had built based on 4 editions ago when you could do pretty much anything you wanted, and that continued through. Didn't mean it was good, but you know, I always had that ability, and then to come now full circle and be like, we can only use what comes in the box, and we limit what comes in those boxes.
Almost like the World Eaters.
Yeah,
they're
it's
all
like-
double axes, and that is not how they.
And that's not how you can't do
But
that anymore. And
we
it's just like, well, you know, for goodness sakes, like I built and painted those models 3 years ago. Like, I'm not going to, and I'm sorry, Games Workshop, if this upsets you, but I'm not going to go out and buy an entire army's worth of new models to replace models that are perfectly good and look great. Because I spent a lot of time converting those to make them look fantastic. Just because, you know, you wanted to change how we build armies.
So I do see WYSIWYG actually not being a. It's going to be a. It's
It
any
will be
tournament.
a thing eventually.
It will be saying, "Hey, it's WYSIWYG."
Yeah.
But I will definitely say I do not see a TO that you mail and go, "Hey, my WYSIWYG is this. This model's this, and this," and I will denote it somehow to let someone know. I see that being a thing.
Miniature game montage, I don't think they're going to. I think that is why they've gone this route, is they don't want to actually make it more granular. They want it simple, not basic, but simple.
This is the
And
simple piece.
This is the simple part. And like I said, I don't necessarily enjoy that in the list building aspect, but this is where the good comes in. And this is where I need people to just get off their soapboxes for a moment. A lot of these changes will eventually be a great thing for the game. They will make the game better as a whole. We just have to get through the first 6 months. The first 6 months are going to be the worst part of this edition because they didn't balance it very well. They didn't understand the choices that they made and how they would affect every army. They understood how they would affect certain armies, but not every army. And unfortunately, with a company like that, when you have 37 factions, you're never going to get it all right. There will always be guys at the bottom. There will always be guys at the top. But in ninth edition, as much as I hate to admit it, the difference between the top and bottom was a lot smaller. But if you look at it right now, it is a chasm. It is vast, it is deep, and it is broad.
Well, I will say I think part of that, and I'm not knocking them because I definitely understand why they did it. They didn't have as many playtesters messing around with stuff
True.
they did before. This is the first edition. Playtesters were not
Yeah,
involved.
exactly.
So that definitely, you can see it as it comes out.
But once again, like I said, I do think in the end this will be a good thing overall for 40K in general. And I think we need to take a step back and just let the games play out. Yes, we know that there are going to be things that are broken, and yes, we know that that will make the game harder for everyone to enjoy. But, and I'm not trying to knock anybody, but we shouldn't be banning armies. We shouldn't be house ruling stuff because we don't know how it actually works.
Let the rules
you
be.
have to let them play out. We need 6 months of real data, real circumstances in real games.
Because the good news is GW's already proven
Yeah.
they will take the data and make
And
changes.
they'll make changes. But if you start messing with that, then your data is irrelevant and they can't make good use of it.
Yes.
Like, believe me, I was heartbroken when my army got nerfed before it even got on the table. I was so excited about the Leaves of Otan when they first came out. Yes, were they overpowered? 100%. If we had let that book go out into the market, it would have been Hail of Doom Eldar all over again. But I never even got a chance to see if that was the case. Because there were some deficiencies that we didn't realize were there until they got on the table. But we cut their legs out from them before they even could get to the table.
Some of the games we played, we realized it's not as bad as we were thinking. If you play around it, know what's going on.
Yeah, like, yes, could they kill stuff? 100%. But against anything that had any kind of speed, we just couldn't score. So it didn't matter that we killed you by turn 4. We were so far behind by then, it didn't matter.
Now, David says in Miniature Montag, Very could change the season. When the next season, when they drop the next mission, they drop the moratorium for the actual point values.
Yeah,
they can make some changes up and down, but again, it's going to be based on what they see from the gameplay, based on the rules that have come out versus people modifying those things.
And the only way they're going to be able to get that data and be able to make those decisions is if we just play the games.
And then Skip says, this is the same thing that happened when 8 came out in Index. Yeah. Index is rough.
Yeah, Index is rough.
I'm going to tell you, I started mid-8, so I never saw Index. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, because we had the Quins, we got the Quins, we fixed the Quins up, we won Best in Faction for Hobby on the Quins, and then I saw Eldar, and I'm like, well, but I don't have Eldar, I have Quins. Like, I literally don't have a single Eldar model outside of Quins. And so I'm like, all right, let me start digging into it. So I'm looking forward to the codexes. I do not think, based on what they said, I don't think codex creep is going to be a massive thing, because they did say the rules are pretty much going to go into the codex, and there's going to be some different things. What I think is going to happen is you're going to have an Eldar. You're going to actually get your 4 or 5 factions. You're going to get your Yunari. You're going to get your Quins. You're going to get your different ones.
Maybe.
But there's not going to be a lot of rules that go with it. It's going to still be the main base core rules, because they don't want to take and have so much fluff that costs the thing.
What I'm very interested to find out is how many Blood Angels do we see running the basic Marine detachment? How many Dark Angels are running the basic Marine detachment? How many Space Wolves are running the basic Marine detachment? Because that is the best detachment for Space Wolves.
At the moment?
Yeah, it is one of the best.
That is a point delete.
Yeah.
Every time point delete, that unit is gone. That is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Miniature game montage. Right power level. Yeah, that's basically what we're playing. That is what we're playing. That's the way they've done it, because everything is free. Now, if the adjustment happens where War Gear starts costing, then we're going to be playing a mixture of power level in that, because they're still. I don't see them switching it back to where you could bring 7 Marines. I'm sorry. If they're going this way, I just don't see it. And then Salam Sector, wouldn't be shocked if they went back to the old point system, because I have not heard a single person say anything positive about it. Yeah, I will say this. I'm going to give you a positive on it.
Yeah.
Crusade is now amazing, because it uses the point system, which used to be the power level system, and that was very controversial across. So if you're going to play Crusades, it is an amazing setup the way they've done it now.
Yeah, like I said, it's just, but this, once again, and this is a good thing that comes from the way they've decided to design the power. Well, I'm just going to call it the power level system, because I agree. That's what it is. We're playing a power level system. We just have granular points because that's how competitive players play. But these rules are not designed specifically for tournament players. They're actually designed for the beer and pretzel guy. And as far as the beer and pretzel game system is concerned, they're very good. Like, the fact that you don't have to necessarily build the most efficient unit to make good use of it is great. The fact that they think this gun looks cool, so I'm going to model it that way, and now I can play with it, and it didn't cost me 10 points to be worthless, doesn't hurt them in any way, shape, or form. It still could be a worthless weapon, but the feel bad is no longer there because it was free. Like, that's a great feeling for someone who is not into the competitive side of the game. I personally like playing competitive games, but I'll be honest, my favorite games actually are Crusade games. They are, because there's no pressure behind it, and it's just literally let's roll some dice and watch some stuff blow up. It is a great
And
way
build
to
a
play the
story.
game.
It's a story. It's a story all day long. Oh, this happened here. This happened here.
Like one of the things that I'm doing when we finally get the move and everything set up and the table set up is I have the old Mighty Empire tiles that Games Workshop made, and I'm going to create a map the size of our table here, and we're going to have a map campaign using Crusade rules between me, Andrea, and our daughter Emmeline, and we're going to play that for as long as we want, and it'll be great because we'll be able to tell the story of whatever we decide to call this place, and that's
nice.
what the game is going to be about. It doesn't matter who wins, who loses battles. It'll be more about how we're telling that story. And for like Emmeline likes playing Drakari. So like her whole thing is going to be mostly about, sneak attacks and backstabbings and slave taking and all that cool stuff that Drakari used to be well known for in years past. And she is so excited about that, which scares me a little bit. But hey, you know what?
Yeah.
To each their own.
It's her getting to live and use her imagination.
Yeah.
AJ says his poor imperial fists now just yellow ultramarines.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that.
David Cook says my blood angels are running Gladius. Yep. And then the Death Company advance in charge is nice. Yep. Skip says as a Tyranid player, I couldn't play them in 9th because of the amount of stuff I had to keep track of. Yeah. So less rules is better in my opinion. Definitely,
yeah, exactly.
Look,
that's what I said. Simple.
Last stratagems.
Simplistic, not simple, is a great thing. And there are a lot of things about that I think are very good. I like the fact that universal special rules are essentially back. I don't have to worry about your feel no pain not being the same as my feel no pain, not being the same as his, ignores wounds.
Look, devastating wounds, lethal wounds, sustained hits.
Mm-hmm.
I got so excited for that because at the drop of a hat, GW can balance something that's crazy.
Yeah.
They can take the wording away from something.
Yeah.
They can give it to something.
Mm-hmm.
They can change how that wording works.
How it interacts.
I mean, there's so many things that have positive. Like, out of all the things they did, power level may have been bad, as Slam Sector says, long live power level. But keyword, the way they used keywords is amazing. Because I can tell you in 9th, one of the things that drove me the baddest when I played Dark Eldar, Fire and Fade was 1, but Lightning Fast was 2, or reverse. And then when I played Eldar, it was the reverse. Yeah. And it was different wordings, but it cost different CP, and I'm like, what?
But they were the exact same thing.
They did the same thing. So
exactly.
Now, across the board, your CP stratagems, Space Marines have, what is it, where, and AJ, you may be able to say it, they get you reduce the AP.
Oh, Armor of Contempt.
Armor of Contempt.
Yeah.
But in Grey Knights, it's called True Silver Armor.
Yeah.
But it's still armor.
It was the same.
But the wording is identical.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool from that standpoint.
Yeah. No, and I agree. And like I said, there are a lot of things that are actually very good about making things simpler for everybody. I don't have to keep track of 19 different things in the middle of my game anymore. I just have to really keep track of 3 or 4, and that's a good thing to be in. And that's what I'm saying. It's not all bad. It's not all ugly. There is a lot of good here. It's just the bad and the ugly stand out right now because it really affects how I played the game. And I think there are a lot of people who are in the same position I'm in. But we also have to remember that it is all brand new again for everybody. And we just need to kind of bite our tongues a little bit and just play some games. Because I'm here to tell you, you know what my favorite faction rule is right now? And I'm going to get a lot of boos in the chat about this, but I'm going to tell you to try and change your mind because you're not gonna. And it's Fate Dice. I think Fate Dice is one of the most unique things in 40K, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. What is fantastic about it is someone like myself. So I played Votan. I used Hearthguard with the Vulcanites. The way our deal worked was I rolled 27 dice on my 9-man unit looking for 6s with all the rerolls I wanted. I have played in rounds in games where I ended up with 2 6s out of 54 dice because I've rerolled all of them. First time, not a single 6, rerolled them again and ended up with 2. Then there were other times when I got 11. When you have a 12 dice pool and you roll poorly, you now have an 11 dice pool. If you roll poorly again, you now have a 10 dice pool. Because you don't get to keep any of those 6s. And for most of these guys who are rolling these dice, they're looking for a specific number they want to achieve. And usually it's around 5 or more. And if they don't get it, they're going to re-roll it. But even then, they're only one use. You only use them once.
Yes.
And if you have to
I messed that
re-roll,
up.
yeah, if you have to re-roll 3 times and get down to 9 dice, you now have 9 dice that you can use to make a change through 5 turns. And that's 10 different phases, that's 30 different phases per turn that you can use these. You have 9. Yes. Is it good? Sure. Can it do some amazing things? Yes. If you think that's what's actually winning some of those games, you're wrong.
It's target priority. It's knowing how to play the game.
There's so much more that goes into it to determine whether you win or lose a game than just those 9 or 10 dice.
AJ can skip both Love Crusades. He said the balancing they do now is way better than it used to be, where it's about every 5 years.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
100%. And they will fix they will fix a lot of this stuff. I guarantee.
And
they're listening.
Honda says, just play the game and have fun. Let the edition play itself out. It will. It will play itself out. That's his mantra. I mean, I agree. I think what's going to be interesting, and Haunted, I know you do a lot of work with Joe. I've got one coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend, where I'm going to go stream one up in Killeen, Texas. The
Hee-Haw.
If you got a free weekend, you want to go up there. They got some tickets still left. But one of the interesting things is I think the chat's going to be a flutter based on some of this. And I love Joe to death. He's going to have his teacher voice cut out. It's going to have to really shut down some of that negativity. And we're not trying to be negative with any of it. We're just
no. I'm just these are some opinions that I have on what I've seen so far. Now here's the thing too. I have yet to play a game. My first game will actually be on Saturday. I'm looking to play a couple of games. So my last Saturday in Houston, I will be at Dragon's Lair North. I've got some people who are going to come out and say, hey, we're going to drink some beers, we're going to eat some pizza. And we're just going to play some 40K and have a good time. And that's going to be my real first look at the edition, other than what I've been able to read.
And no, he's not playing me first, so he doesn't get upset and quit.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure he plays somebody else. I already have, what was it? Hold on. Ken's not on here.
Yeah, Ken had a meeting.
No, I played World Eaters the other day.
Yeah.
David. And we got through the first 2 turns. And he goes, yep, Nathan's got tricks. Nathan knows his things. I was basically playing Harlequin World Eaters, is what he said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not going to do that to anybody.
Hey, Walker.
What up, Walker? Jamie is a one man back for a show, so we decided we would take and throw it up.
Exactly.
Let's see here. David says, remember now, even though there is busted army list with scary stuff, but there are a lot more ways to approach the win.
Exactly.
We saw that with World Eaters versus Eldar. Yes, we did, David.
Yeah.
I literally went into a Wraith Night, and that should have been, like, everybody in the chat and so forth. Like, World Eaters should have just been demolished. And I actually, so spoiler alert, cover your eyes, ears, if you hadn't seen it, it finished 85 to 82.
Yeah.
World Eaters won, and the only reason it was that close is David took a gambit and rolled 4 4s to get 30 points. Otherwise, it would have been 85 to 52.
That's why I said, like, this is the problem with our hobby. We do a lot of on paper. On paper, this army is unbeatable. I'm here to tell you there's no such thing as an unbeatable army. It's just not possible. The best players in the world will tell you they do not win 100% of their games, ever. It never happens. Can they go to a tournament and win all of their games? Yes, but they will never go an entire season without losing a game. It's not possible. And as we continue through, no, Siegler has lost games. Like Siegler does lose games. He doesn't lose many. Yeah, he doesn't lose many, but he will tell you, like, anyone can win a game if you make a good plan.
Have a good one, Walker.
Yeah, have a good one. And you play your mission, you can beat a great player at the game. A little bit of luck has to go your way, of course, because I can tell you right now, if I were to play any of the Art of War guys, I will probably lose 99% of those. But I'll win at least one.
Out of 100 games. Out of 100 games.
Yeah, I'll win one. Because, once again, like, that's the nice thing about our game, is that it is still using random number generators. You can plan as best as you want, but if the dice just don't go your way, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter.
There's only one way to avoid that, and that's play Nathan Hammer.
Yeah, that's
true. You take the dice.
But even then, you still
take the
dice out, and that's the best part.
That's the hard part. You truly, and actually, as the additions, in the end of 8th going into 9th, I could. 9th took it away.
Yeah.
10th is making it very tricky for me to figure it out, as I said, and I think I said, and I've been thinking. So a lot of my list building, the one that I'll probably take to tournaments, just so everybody knows, I don't know what army it'll be, but it will literally build to score 1, 2, 3, and then play a gambit. That is what I am figuring out, and that's what I'm going to take, because I think that would be the funnest way to play the army.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw.
Yeah. And that's the thing I do like about this edition and the way it's designed. It is a lot easier to design your list around scoring points. Used to be, in editions past, we actually built our lists around denying points. Because points denial was almost as important as how you played your game, is how few points could you give up in some of these secondaries. I like the fact that that isn't as important anymore, because there are so many choices and there's so many different ways in which someone can now play. You're not just limited to this category, this category, this category. So you choose your two, you build your list to be able to score those two, and it doesn't really matter what your opponent does. You know you can score those two. You know how you're going to score those two. Your opponent's going to try to stop you, but you have more control over that.
And unless they built a list that they can choose their two, it's going to be hard to do it because they have to also play the randomization of the cards. And I can safely say I've only come up with one list. I've only looked at 3 or 4 armies. I've only actually played 3 armies. I've got a 4th one coming up and a 5th one coming up. But there's only one army that I've actually been able to choose 2 secondaries and say I will religiously score them. The downside is it only scores me 6 points a turn. Times 5 is only 30 points, so I'm still coming up 10 short. But it can do it without any issues. But that's one of the things that when you go to the set secondaries, it's better to play the random ones. But the problem is then you got to build your list to be very randomized. So there is a lot. I know the list building, the points. And I think, to me, and this is just my thoughts, and I am not the end-all be-all. This will be where we kind of differ. Jamie doesn't like the power level, and I get it. For me, he feels, or in some of the chat, you're taking away a model or a unit. You're like, I'm making a more efficient unit. Where I would say you kind of look at the list, and this is what I did with the Grey Knights. However, apparently I shorted myself 150 points in my list because I don't know how to add. Well, actually, I do. I just saw 225 and read it as 255 because that's how I miss dial numbers all the time because I wrote them backwards. And so if you take 55 from 25, that's 30 points at 5 Terminator squads. That is 150 points I shorted myself in my green list. But didn't know that, so when I was building it, I only had so many points left. So what I did is I was able to maneuver the rumors around, and I took a 4-man unit of servitors for 50 points. They are not beneficial at all. But in my list consumption, because they are the worst option, I just said they will set on my home objective in the back corner to get me to engage and hide behind a building, which is what they did. So it was a 50-point unit for that. Now, since I've changed that, I've been able to pick up some strikes, so there's a little bit more oomph to sit back there and can bounce around. But I think that's where some of that list, I know it feels bad because you hadn't been able to.
Well, the problem is there are armies that can't do that. That's my point. Like, I don't have a 50-point option. There's nothing in my book that's 50 points. I don't have.
What's the cheapest one?
The cheapest unit is a character at 75 points.
Yeah.
That is my cheapest unit. Everything else is 100 points or more.
How many?
Minimum.
Now, out of curiosity.
Now, I only have 12 data sheets. So
Right.
You know.
No, that's a difference there.
Right.
Being a new army, that is a difference when it gets to limited that. So definitely
but
understand that.
And that's why that's where the balance using a system like this is really difficult because there are other armies in that same position.
Yeah, because if it's just Quins, that would be a little bit more. I've done it, but it's a little bit more tricky. They're in an LOTR book, so they get to use all the others. So that's kind of some thoughts on it. We're coming to the end. Like I said, we're doing a lot. Jamie's in town. He has definitely got limited time, so we appreciate him being able to hop in, do this, getting geared up, ready to start seeing some of his hottie videos. I'm going to hold him to it, make sure he gets them to me.
Yeah, we're gonna do a plethora of different how-tos. So we're gonna do some Necrons to show how to paint with metallics. We're also gonna do some ceramic Necrons. For those of you who may have been in the hobby for a little while, that is from older edition. You can look it up on the internet. There's some pictures out there. It's a really cool way of painting Necron miniatures without having to paint it in metallics.
No, cool.
So
Well, actually, the other day I did my first non-metallic guns on the mechs. That was fun to do. I always use metallics. So
I'm definitely gonna paint up some of the Leviathan stuff. I'm actually really excited to paint up the Tyranids. Surprisingly enough, I've never owned a Tyranid army, and now I have the starts of it. I know that a lot of people are a little disappointed with the NIDS right now.
I got 3 boxes of it.
I think they're just really cool looking. I think those models are fantastic.
This is the one thing I will give them credit for. They knocked it out of the park with every model in that
100%.
box.
Yeah, I agree.
I am not disappointed with any of those models. They are, when you really start looking at them, some of the detail, and that's what's really cool. No matter which ones you do, if you paint them, it just dry brush, it starts pulling some of them.
There's also some painting I'm going to do on some non-Games Workshop miniatures that I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of the game Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings. I have a huge collection of those models. I have three factions. Yeah, 3 factions worth right now. So because I can show a lot of really cool techniques on those miniatures that you can use on other miniatures. I'm going to be using some different types of paints. So I have 2 thin coats. I have the first set already in hand. The second set will be coming to me in August. So we'll be using some of those. I've got my airbrush will be all set up. So it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of stuff I'm going to do on the hobby side that I'll be able to add as content that you guys can watch and consume. Hopefully stuff that you like. And if there's something in particular you would like to see, drop us a line, let us know.
Yeah, leave a comment if you're watching this on a VOD video on demand.
Yeah, video on demand.
Leave a comment below on stuff that you'd like to see. If you think about the games that we got, which games are your favorite from a tabletop gaming? I know we talk about 40K. We know the in-depth of it. People have learned also every game I look at is chess, so I don't care which one of the games we have listed we play. I play them all as if they're chess, so to me it's chess. I just don't want to paint chess pieces.
Yeah, understandable. Although that is a project that I am looking forward to doing. I did one about 15 years ago, but I actually made a 40K chess board and used, at that time, it was orcs and space marines.
That'd be
so I would like to do something similar to that again, but using some of the cool new models that we have. Maybe I'll do it with a Leviathan box, actually. That would be a really good opportunity.
Be cool. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I could make use of a lot of those. But yeah, so it's cool things like that are some of the stuff that I'm going to be doing, and we'll start seeing those probably towards the end of July or the early August. You'll start seeing some of those videos popping up, and I'm going to try and get a couple of them out. I'm going to try and get a couple of them done every week now, whether we post them both live in the same week or if we try to stretch them out, however we decide to do that. If I'm going to do a series, then you'll hear about it, and I'll describe what the series is going to entail, and then we'll do very similar like we did with Harlequins. We'll do all the ones in the series, and then we'll post them out, and then eventually you'll be able to look at them in a single collection.
Let's see. And K. Scott says, familiar with the Conquest minis and painted a fair few of them. The more I paint, the less I like them personally. Their newer ones are better though. The quality of the miniatures,
they're not as good as what we're used to painting. I agree. But what I do like about them is I do like the tropes that they use for the armies. Like the Vikings are some of my favorite models. Some of those models are just absolutely gorgeous. Their 100 Kingdoms models, their knight models are very nice looking. The spires are a little meh.
Is that the spiders?
Yeah, it's like they're like space elves, sort of, but not in the space elf like we're normally used to. These guys are.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
But it's a very cool faction, and they have a new faction that just came out. Haven't gotten any of the miniatures yet, called the City States. It's very Greek and Roman-esque, and those models are gorgeous. But yeah, you're right. The newer ones are much better than their first runs, with the exception of 100 Kingdoms. I am a big fan of that range. That was one of the very first factions they did. I'm not a big fan of their dwarves though. I don't like the looks of them, so I don't know if I'll actually ever own them, which is sad to say because I don't think there's a dwarf I haven't owned at one point in time.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's
but
fair.
they have a lot of really cool models, and I like to use them because I'll be able to do a lot of cool techniques with them.
Cool. We've got about 5 more minutes before we go. So any questions in the chat, anybody watching, anything you want to ask either one of us, if they all want to be to Jamie, it doesn't bother me on that. I have greatly appreciated everybody hanging out, greatly appreciated the chat, scrolling. being able to give us different things. Hopefully this 200th video has been entertaining. I don't know. I always have fun sitting and talking. I think the other day I talked for 2.5 hours putting 2.5 hours putting 5 Terminators from the Leviathan box together. The most inefficient model I've ever put together. But I was reading the chat and having a good time. So definitely,
and that's some of the stuff I'm looking to produce in the future is stuff similar to that. Being able to put together some stuff that you can just kind of throw on in the background and listen while you're building your models or painting your models. It's what I like to watch on YouTube myself.
So definitely have that. Like I said, any questions, anything, any particular game. Actually, I will say this. So here's another one. I didn't even put this one up there yet. I had someone make a comment on one of the videos asking if we played one-page rules. And I was like, well, what is that? And so I went and looked it up. And apparently I can use pretty much any of the models I got in the house for those games.
Yep.
So I'm contemplating learning those rules. Like the rule sets are starting to blend between playing now, but it's one of those, if you want to see it, make a comment below that you'd like to see some one-page rules. I'm not against it. I'm not against putting any tabletop miniature game on the channel. That's one of the things that I have fully embraced with the channel. I don't say that we're 40K when we started it. It is Heroic Scale Gamers. We do everything on a heroic level, and so any of the games, I definitely have enjoyed them. Some of the games we still hadn't got on it. I mean, heck, I think maybe one time we streamed an Infinity game because I got Infinity models. I have. So, have you ever seen that movie, TV show Hoarders?
Yeah.
The house is starting to look like a Hoarders, except it's miniatures, tax write-offs.
That's right. This is our tiny little tax show.
That's what it boils down to. And I will say this too. Definitely, I will put a video out probably this weekend for the month of July. I'm going to take and see if we can get another push on the subscribers. So if you will, can you grab him right there? Just sitting right here on the table. Here. I'm going to take in, so we have one of the friends of the channel, and he has given me, or the channel, we'll say, he physically gave them to me, but the channel, the Joy Toys. And so what I'll end up doing is putting a video out, and if we get to, let's see, we're at 6:30, let's say another 30.
Sure.
Say 660?
Yeah.
Once we hit 660, I'll do a drawing for one of the Joy Toys. I don't know which one yet, but we have, I've got 20 of them. So I've got these guys, where's the Space Marines, I've got the Inceptors, Intercessors, Terminators, I've got some Chaos ones and some regular ones. So definitely I'm going to put that out. So just let everybody know that, you see, hey, if you hadn't hit it up, it puts everybody in if they hit the button. And of course, I'll make it so people can leave comments to make sure that the take can get done from that standpoint. So that is one of the things that we will be doing. I like doing the giveaways. I liked giving away the other day the Ahsoka Tano. Yeah, it was really cool. Like, I wanted to keep it and paint it, but I was like, nope, we're just gonna give that away. So that is what happened there. With that, I hadn't seen anything else pop up in chat. And again, I can't say thank you enough to all the super chats. They mean more than you'll ever know. It definitely just helps make sure that we're taking and putting it to good use, trying to make sure we're taking in either getting stuff, doing stuff, upgrading equipment. I can't thank people enough over this year and a half for going to the Amazon wish list and buying stuff there and having it shipped to the house. Soundboard, cameras, cords, cables. They've helped actually increase some of our streamability outside of this room when I'm going to places because of the length of those cables. And then finally, I can't thank anybody enough just for consuming the content and putting the time in minutes. Like I said, 4,000 hours watched in a calendar year is crazy if you really break it down.
Yeah.
Because
Especially
a TV show
especially for a small channel.
TV show is 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And a series is most time 12. So it's only 300 hours. Or 300 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is only like 3 hours. We've got 4,000 hours. So I cannot thank everybody enough for that. Hopefully, really looking forward to seeing the channel continue to grow, continue to do. We definitely are all about the tabletop managers. Anything you want to leave in final thoughts before we wrap
No,
it up?
like I said, I'm really looking forward once we get everything finished with the move and we get all settled in. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to getting some hobby content back on the channel. I'll do some fireside chats as well. Just lots of additional content that we can get to you guys so you can consume it. And if there's something that you're interested in having me talk about, or if there's a subject you would like some insight on, just leave some comments down there, because we always go through all the comments and answer them as quickly as we can.
Yeah, we always make sure. I don't think there's a single one that's been missed in this year and a half.
No, not one.
So if you want to see if you can challenge me, make more comments.
Yeah.
Put as many as you want, because I'm going to get to them all. So as you haven't been here for this,
Okay.
but you've seen it,
Yes,
hopefully.
I have.
So as we have started doing on our outro, no matter what game you're doing, keep them all.